Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Here we are, and we've caught Nicola out. He was going to sneak off. He was just telling us about his latest 12S machine that he's going to be flying. Because who wouldn't fly a 12S? I mean, 12S, it's the new 1S, really.
Gary, stop lying to people. Stop lying.
No,
you're not going to be flying anything 12S yet.
Mark said it's either 6S or 12S on the box.
And nothing succeeds like 12S.
No. How many volts? What's 12S then? I know what 6S is.
About 100 volts, isn't it?
No. 12S is 44 volts.
44, yeah. Oh my hat. you definitely in the spark. What are those things you put in line? It's spark protectors, isn't it? 50.4. What's those things you put in line when you have very big batteries? I can't remember.
The anti-sparks.
Fuses.
The anti-sparks. You can have anti-spark, and I used to pop them on 6S, let alone 12S.
I think I would be genuinely frightened of having that about, or just that amount of lithium, or just amount of no.
It's just two 6S batteries wired in series. Nothing.
True. Yeah.
Nothing ultra serious. But I'm not gonna be doing it 12S. It's gonna be a twin tractor, so it's gonna be 6S. The 12S is probably for the VTOL setup.
I'll just send Gary a picture of the 6S battery that's going in something a bit large, just so you can see. Let me just find you. There you are. You're gonna love this.
Meanwhile, let's watch some paint dry.
Yeah.
Picture of a battery.
Read a book.
Read a book.
There you go.
It's nice to see a video monitor from the 80s. That's really good there, Mark. Well done. I mean, it's Back to the Future there.
And it's black and white.
No, it's not actually. What it really is, it's got a little.
It's a Mac thing.
It's an Mac.
Yes.
But I don't throw away old computers. I have this thing where I will not throw an old computer or the hard drive away. I keep them all, even my Commodore Amiga 4000, because they have stuff on that's, personal or whatever. I've never thrown anything away. I'm terrible. I'm a hoarder.
Yeah. All those images you've downloaded from the net over the years, archived onto hard drives.
Hello. How come Matt's in the comment and not with us? Has Mag got the time wrong, or is
he's
he
in a bad mood? He said.
Is he in a bad mood?
He's in a bad mood. He's not. Yeah. He's grumpy.
Is he? Oh, what's he done? Oh, is that because is he not allowed out even on YouTube anymore? Now he's not allowed out of Wales. Is that how it's working? He's not allowed out in any way or form.
Well, the virus transmits, so yeah, he can't come and join.
Do you know? A little bit of politics for those people around other parts of the world where people in England are complaining that they can't buy things in supermarkets. Guess what? We had that for 2 months, and it was worse than that. So the UK hasn't even pretended to lock down yet. You haven't even played locking down yet. But anyway.
Absolutely ridiculous, and it's slightly off subject and a bit of a tangent.
Yes.
The BBC has had a little thing on how to wear a mask to cover your nose and your mouth. They're even doing, right, the human race, I think, needs to win a Darwin Award for itself. We should present the human race with a Darwin Award because we're out to win it in style. We really are. That's my little venture.
And what about Nicola? How is it where you are? We never. I mean, you seem to just be carrying on over there, as well as flying BVLOS to millions of miles.
Yeah, well, life is going about normal pace. We've seen a spike in cases, but at this point, pretty much the whole country is convinced that the majority of those are fake, because they probably really are, because that's one way the government is trying to scare us, because there has been protesting for like 6 months now against the government, and they're looking for various creative ways of shutting those people down.
Oh, dear.
So that might be.
Let's steer back onto topic. We've all had enough of this topic because the big topic. Ian the Annoyed. Come on, Ian the Annoyed. I've seen the email now, but the big topic is Bruce fought the law and the law's winning. Kindly, Bruce, for those of you who haven't, I think, is it on XJet? Oh, it's on XJet, isn't it? Not Arsenal Model Reviews. Yeah, have a look at this. The Lord's Been Called video, but can you summarise it for us?
Crap.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like, it's not often I'm surprised, but I was surprised. It's like CAA repeatedly snatches defeat from the jaws of victory. And every time you offer them an olive branch, they lash you about the head with it. It's unbelievable, and it just furthers all the assertions I've made. It further proves my case in so many ways that there's some really bad systemic problems within this organisation, and I can't believe what they're doing. I really can't believe it. And it shows a really more important thing, because what I used was a meme. I put a meme up. You know, everyone knows what memes are. If you use the internet, you know what a meme is. And a lot of the people flying drones these days are younger people, and that part of their culture is memes online. You know, you look at all the various memes, you go to a drone forum, there's memes popping up everywhere. So it is a part of the drone flyers culture. So for the CAA not to understand what a meme is, which is really, it is just a moving political cartoon. You know, we see political cartoons in the papers showing, you know, someone challenging a dragon with a spear, and it might be a politician as the dragon or whatever. We don't think, oh, someone's inciting someone to commit an act of violence. No, it is a satire. It is a commentary on something that's happening in the real world. And that's what a meme is. But CAA have taken the opportunity to say, oh, we're really afraid. Our panties are in a bunch and we're calling the police. And I mean, seriously, if these people are that incapable of making accurate risk assessments, what are they doing in the job that they've been assigned? It proves they have no concept of how to accurately establish risk or manage risk or anything. If they were really concerned, they would have said to the police, we want to go down to Tokoroa and talk to Mr. Simpson. Can you come with us and protect us, please? But instead, no, they just lay a complaint with the police. And I mean, seriously, any respect that may have lingered within the drone community for CAA in New Zealand has just completely vanished now. I've had so many emails from people saying, what the hell's going on? How can they be taken seriously? They're happy to bully pensioners, happy to bully 14-year-old boys, but you even suggest the slightest hint of violence through a meme and they all go scurrying off to the police because they're too frightened and afraid. Seriously, this is utter hypocrisy. It's unbelievable.
Well, I thought it was interesting in that they have committed a data protection breach, and they have a magic ticket to get away with that, and yet they can then two wrongs don't make a right and all that sort of thing. But how can they suddenly jump up and down? How can they escalate this in an instant to this point and then still get away with that data breach? I'm not putting it very well, but that's what I thought. I thought it's just madness.
There are always two sets of rules. One,
you're right.
Yeah, the two sets of rules, one for the people who make the rules and one for the people who have to follow rules. And those who make the rules are never bound by the same rules that apply to the people that they regulate. And that's what's happening here. There's two separate levels of accountability. If you take your little 25-gram toy and you fly it in the park, you can get a big fine or appear in court. But if they breach your privacy and commit also and bully young underage boys like government-sponsored thugs, they can get away with that. That's fine because we are agents of the government. We're allowed to do what we like, and it just has to change. You cannot allow this to continue. It is just totally unreasonable. But what they have done, of course, is they've shot themselves in the foot to some degree, because if I was to do something which may be technically a breach of the regulations or they're completely safe, and they decide it's Simpson again, let's refer this for enforcement, and they decide to take me to court, I don't think they'd have much chance of convincing a judge that their actions were totally objective and solely related to the preservation of safety. When you look at the record of prejudice and just bad acting on their part, it's going to be like very difficult to convince a judge that they're not having some kind of agenda or there's some kind of bias involved here. So they've weakened their own position, even over me. They have very little power over me. And as I said in my video, I'm going to go out and continue to fly safely, as I always have. But I will be relying very much on the words of Harry Day, World War I fighter ace, in terms of respect to the regulations. I will not be using them as a crutch. I'll be using them as a guide. But and I suspect that what they've done now is they've basically alienated themselves from a huge swathe of the drone flying community. And they are actually making the skies less safe because people now hold them in contempt instead of respect.
Yeah, I don't know. What did you think of it all, Mark? Did you see the video?
I did, and I find it amazing that they got so offended by a meme. I mean, come on. You know, I just don't know. I was waiting actually for the New Zealand drone guys to suddenly come up with their own memes, like the CA running from an old man or something. You know, I'm kind of waiting for those memes to appear because they're going to, aren't they?
Yeah, they already have.
You know,
There's another meme has come out. Duck McSquee or whatever his name is. He's put one, very good one, and it's actually taken an advertisement from a government agency, the Lotteries Commission, which involves firearms, and he's substituted some CAA things and rules for the thing. So it is, again, it's a violent. He'd probably be reported to the police too for encouraging violence. But it was an advertisement that screened on television, but from a government agency, the Lotteries Commission. So if they're going to start referring, I wonder how. It must be a very frightening life to be a CAA employee, because every time you see an act of violence on television while you're watching your favorite drama or movie, you've got to call the police and say, I've seen a crime. Well, I'm afraid for my life. Do they not understand the difference between reality and entertainment fiction? Obviously not.
Oh, here's Louis. Louis, are you joining us live from on the south side? Are you still in Brazil?
Yep.
Is that shoe cam you're using? We're looking up your nose, really. What's going on?
No. I'm trying to get a position for the laptop. Hold on.
And have you? While we see your fingers, have you flown yet?
Yes, I flew.
He's got that high quality Wi-Fi connection again. Have you used up your data cap?
Wonderful Wi-Fi connection, guys.
So, but you stopped. We think you may have flown, but what was the actual?
No,
what was
I've flown as a passenger on an Airbus.
Do you know this just brings me joy, because this has been my life of trying to fly stuff in Africa and other parts of the world. A lot of time in hotels not doing anything that you actually want to do. Many meetings, many shakings of hands.
Oh my God. As Europe is locked down on everything, so everybody is doing home conferences and Zoom, Skype,
okay.
What else? WebEx and whatever. So it's been quite a full busy days. And given the time slot difference, oh my God, I really like to wake up at 4 a.m.
Yes. Well, do you know, I think I'm coming around to really enjoying all this sort of thing, because when it gets to hyper bullshit, I can just switch whatever the stream is off and go and do something else. I haven't driven miles to get somewhere. I haven't had to. I don't really have a tie. I only have a tie for funerals. But you know, you actually put your smartest scruffy jeans on, and you don't have to do any of that. And yeah, if it gets rubbish, you switch it off and walk away. I think it's great. So it's working well for me, all these calls. But my word, I've seen some nonsense. I've seen some real nonsense being spoken in these various conferences. But yeah,
so,
not quite the same as your business meetings.
Oh, by the way, have we mentioned the undisclosed location of the guy here?
I don't know. Mark's also seems to be in an undisclosed location. Everyone's in undisclosed locations except me. Yeah, he's in his another junk room with his exercise machine next to him or something, or a Hoover. Not quite sure what that metal.
It's the only room he's got that's not full of old computers and hard drives, isn't it?
Oh yeah, up there. Yeah, definitely. And then his cupboard full of special stuff he's got there.
Did I miss Bruce's status update?
Yeah, you did. We've just had it really. The feds are onto him. Is the bottom line,
Yeah,
and it's not fair.
same story, different day. You see why I moved though, eh? You can see I didn't anticipate this. That's why I moved house just in time.
Yeah.
Just in time. If I go back to the old place, I'll see all the blue flashing lights. It'll be great.
It's almost time to move again. So, when do you think you might be flying, Louis?
Let's just say it's a good question.
Oh, okay. Oh, look, an old man's he's calmed down, look. He's calmed down. Happy birthday, Ian.
Yeah, hello. How are you doing, everyone? One of those days.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, what?
It's been one of those days, let's just say that. Yeah, I watched Bruce's video as soon as it came out, and I wasn't surprised because it was a vicious and scathing attack on them with that meme. It was the problem is, Bruce, there's two issues here. Number one, you've tried to play fair in the sense of you've been open about what you're doing, publicly open, and B, you've been public. And the number one thing regulators and anyone involved in government don't like is anything being public. If you'd have gone to them with a back door and a nice chat behind the doors and sorted this all out, it would have been resolved by now, especially with a big brown bag of cash in your hand. It would have all been sorted. However, no, you chose to do it publicly in a manner which is only respectful for the community, but open and honest. And what you're going to do is make them look bad. And basically, they're telling you to get stuffed. And that's where you're at right now, really, isn't it?
Yeah, though, as I say, I don't have to make them look bad. They're consummate experts at that all by themselves, aren't they?
Yeah, but you've given them the platform, Bruce. You've done this. You have to remember, in their eyes, you opened the door. Doesn't matter the fact they stepped through it, but you opened the door, and that's yeah. I did chuckle when they said they've called the police on the meme, and I was like, really? Someone's going to look at this. Some officer's going to look at this and go, "What am I missing here? What am I meant to do with this?" But expect to knock on the door with force because they're a government agency. There will be canisters coming through the letterbox. They will take out the power. Soon to see 70-year-old gagged and tagged and missing somewhere in New Zealand.
Look, all I can hope right now, and personally, and really from the bottom of my heart, to help this channel, I'd like them to do it right now. Do it now. Do it now.
You just see the lights go off and canisters, bags,
really like that. That'd be so good.
We must do a Patreon or a GoFundMe subscription to get Bruce an iPhone so he can do a selfie while he's being arrested, because with his current cell phone he cannot do a live stream on the cell phone.
No, get me one of those really small phones and I'll do it from inside the prison. The ones you can secrete on yourself.
Where do you put the phone when you're going inside the prison? We don't want to know.
They're delivered by drone. I've read all the newspaper stories.
I think
Sorry, go on, Ian.
I was just going to say, I think the end result of this is they are coming after you, Bruce. We all look forward to when it does happen. We're all going to enjoy the footage, and then we're going to sit back and go, does anyone remember Bruce? Is it the Top Gear rule with this? When someone dies or disappears, you must never mention them again. It was just like they were never here. And it just ends with moving on.
I think
with friends like this.
You're the guy that is in best position. So you ship out your surveillance system down to Bruce, so we can and put it on live streaming. So all the cameras that you have, you ship them out to Bruce.
It's no, I think the reality is, Bruce, you've done a commendable job of highlighting the inadequacies of the system, and they won't like that one little bit, and they're going to find every way they possibly can to nail you. And the reality is, so far they've got nothing. As much as you tried to hand it to them on a plate, the reality is, it really is very hard to do someone unless you do something actually dangerous. And as we've said more than once, what you've done is non-compliance, but that's not the same as dangerous. And I think they're beginning to realize it's going to be very difficult to actually do anything about that.
Sorry, Ian, that's not absolutely correct, because if you cross a street outside of the crosswalk, you might get fines. Might not be a car in miles, but you can get fined if you cross outside of the crosswalk. So it's not unsafe, it's just non-compliant with the regulations.
Yep, but if they do that, if they try and do me for non-compliance, then it'll escalate to a court, and we'll ask a judge to decide on what's going on here. Not a bunch of suited civil servants who are safely ensconced behind their desk cowering in fear of the next meme, but a judge who's far more acquainted with the real world and the importance of justice over law.
Well, I think that's why in a lot of, I think I'm still right in saying this, no shoot down case has actually made it to court anywhere in the world yet. Because if we do, because you know how we are aircraft and we must be treated like aircraft, and we're going to hit other aircraft and aircraft, and we're aircraft and we must obey aircraft rules. But they don't really want that to happen. if that comes in, because then if someone is shot down or somebody does interfere with an RPAS operator in flight, etc., then they're going to have to climb on top of the person interfering with the RPAS operator. They're going to have to climb on top of the person that shot it down and all that sort of thing. And that's why I don't think anywhere one's gone through, has it?
Yeah, I think wasn't there one in the States recently where a guy was ordered to pay over $10,000, I think, because he shot a drone.
Wrong then.
Yeah,
wrong then. That's the first one.
I think so. Okay. I could be wrong as well, but I just remember seeing that on one of those inferior drone news sites.
Oh yes, of course. How very dare you? But it
could have been fake news.
Could have been. They don't want us in court. They don't want us in court in any old way. And I want to slightly slide this across to let's actually get out the topic now. The regulators are going to be quite busy. Did we see today that ASTM and another group are talking remote ID standards, and there's various other things going on in the background. DJI are jumping up and down about their stuff, and there really is a strong bubble of consensus that January next year, just about every country in the world is going to have some form of it or other, and it's all being hidden very nicely. We know France has got it, and I don't think, almost to Bruce's stuff where you're defending the model community, I don't think the model community has a clue that this is coming. A few of them do, but I don't think they have a clue.
I think if
that's one thing I've noticed in some of the comments I've got back, people saying, "Oh, why are you doing this? You're just creating trouble, blah blah blah." These people are completely oblivious to the future that is just around the corner and the effect it's going to have on the hobby. And I think, "Oh, drones," but they completely ignore the fact that there is no difference between drones and model aircraft in the eyes of regulators. And so they're going to wake up one morning and find, "Oh my goodness, what's going on? We're out of the air, or we've got to spend fortune on remote ID, or we've got to pay to fly," and it's going to come as a huge surprise. They're going to say, "Why didn't our organisation do something? Why weren't we told?" Well, I'm telling you, I'm trying to get the awareness out there. And some of these people, they tend to be older, who don't understand memes. They are also criticising me for making trouble. I'm just creating trouble. Just get on and fly, they say. Well, yeah, but I could be selfish and just fly and enjoy until the end comes. But I'd rather look out for the next generation and the subsequent generations who should be entitled to enjoy the freedoms and the fun that we have for so many years. And if we don't take a stand and protect our freedoms, we're just going to lose them.
Now, interestingly, I spoke to someone today from an organisation that I didn't normally rate very well. And I'll be honest, okay? I've never rated RPAS in the UK. Yeah, I've never. Now, Gary, you did publish the BSI and RPAS survey, didn't you, recently, last 2 days? Can I just say, everyone in the UK should be filling that out, okay? And your thoughts, because my respect for RPAS went up somewhat today after speaking, because I did the survey and I got interviewed on my thoughts and bits on all this kind of stuff. Now, interestingly, in the UK, the BMFA has actually, they were there when these new regulations came up, and they were in the room of 22, as I understand it, and they went, we don't like this. This is not good for modelling at all. Now, if you're, say, 3 people and the other 19, there's 22 in the room, the 3 of you go, this is all no good, and the other 19 go, but we think it is, you're overruled. The BMFA, they saw this coming. They tried to do something by the looks of it, from what I've been able to work out. And this is behind the scenes. The problem is they don't shout about this kind of stuff, nor does RPAS. What RPAS does in the background, they don't shout about. I think it's a double-edged sword, because they don't want to say, well, we got the government to do this, because then it's like, well, hang on a minute. They're going, well, next time you want something, it can end up being a bit of a double-edged sword for them. And I have to say that I've actually got more respect for RPAS today after I've learned more of what they do behind the scenes. I
look at this slightly differently in the sense of I know they've been involved, but I can't get away from the fact that the AMA, the BMFMA, and all of them set to heavily benefit from these new regulations, because what's happened over the last few years, especially in America, is AMA sites have been abandoned by users. People are able to buy drones off the shelf and fly anywhere. And what these regulations will do, especially in the US, not so much over here, but in the US, they will drive everyone to the sites, because you won't be allowed to fly anywhere else. And whilst the AMA is sitting and go, oh no, this is terrible, no, we don't want this at all, we don't want none of this whatsoever, that means you're going to have to join our club to fly at our site. And what we're then going to say is, sorry, we don't want fixed multi-rotor on 80% of our sites, we're only going to allow fixed wing. And in the US, the NPRM heavily restricted where a normal user could fly. And we put the videos out about this. It's good over 12 months, Gary, that we all did a bit of a heavy push on this. I did a video, Bruce did one, and it's over 12 months. It's got
it's 2 years, isn't it?
Is it 2? And everything went quiet. But I still find it hard to believe that these organizations have really heavily pushed back. I think BFMA is slightly different. I think because the UK rules won't change any. Even if remote OD comes in tomorrow, the reality is it's not going to dramatically change the way we fly. We can retrofit. The European regulation was fairly conservative. As we've said across the board, it would allow some easy-ish compliance. The NPRM, on the other hand, was a total lockdown of model aviation. You won't be flying anywhere but on this site. Up to 250 meters, job done, you're stuffed.
And by the way, don't have any more new model aircraft flying fields. Once we rubber stamp this, that's it. No more flying fields.
It's a bit like
what you've got to remember is that the AMA and all these organisations are not looking out for the hobby; they're looking out for their members.
Yes.
And increasingly, the hobby is much more than their members. So they're happy to say, we're doing our bit for the hobby, but no, we're doing a bit for our members. But they forget all about the much greater number of people and young people coming through who are not members of their organisations. Those are the people that I'd like to think I'm able to represent, because the other organisations either can't or won't. And so when we have the FAA talking to the AMA behind closed doors, it's like, well, if you don't make too much noise, we'll give you this exclusive authority to run your little sites. And the AMA go, oh, yeah, that's great, thanks. So that's why you don't see much of an outburst from the AMA. And they call on their members to make submissions, even though they have 200,000 members. There were 60,000 submissions, and most of those were from non-AMA members. They really didn't put a lot. It was a last-minute thing, they didn't really put a lot thought.
Flight Test.
Yeah, they were patting
it. Would massively benefit. What did Flight Test do last year? They bought a very large site that would heavily benefit from a restricted flight location.
If they mobilised their million-plus subscribers.
They didn't buy it. They got their subscribers to buy it.
Sorry, I should say.
If they'd been keen, I'd really pushed it. Their million-plus subscribers should have filed 1 million-plus submissions. But what happened? Nothing. Although I've got to say,
channel, wasn't it? They never even made the first channel.
Yeah, that's right. They started up another channel just for that and kept it really small, so they can say we're doing our bit, as much as we have to, just to be seen to be there. So everyone has their own vested interests. Everyone's got an interest, of iron in the fire. I don't know. Am I the only guy that is just thinking of the hobby and not my own personal wallet or best interests? I don't know. How do I make money out of this?
I do think the BMFA is trying to do what it can for the hobby. I really do. You know, behind the scenes, they are. I mean, I did hear that they didn't see eye to eye with CIA at some point. You know, that it was publicised somewhere. I did see it.
Yeah.
I did read it. That the CIA and the BMFA had kind of, they weren't getting on very well.
No. But the BFMA has lost its identity as well, hasn't it? You know, Mark. You know, if you take it, the BFMA it's in a bit of a. It doesn't know which way it is. It's got a large aging model aviation community, and then it's stuck in the past, but it needs the future to survive, and it as well, isn't it?
Sorry, after you, Mark.
Well, I was going to say, so the Model Flying Club I'm at, we always say we are only going to last as long as our youngest member. If we do not get new members in, you can't keep the club modern, keep it going. And the same is with the BMFA. If they can't bring in new people, eventually it will just die off.
But it's getting their members to accept that. You know, I remember being invited to a meeting, and I was annihilated. You know, there's no other word to use. I was literally, it was like shoving a piece of steak into a raptor pen. It was literally, they were only interested in ripping me apart. And the classic reason for that, I quite enjoyed it. But, you know, it was
That would be the only thing to do with it, wouldn't it? Really, I mean,
yeah. It's. But at the end, the problem they've got is they have this identity crisis where they need to understand how they're going to move forward, and that's where, you know, I pledged my support this year for FPV UK. That's where I put my money this year, because Simon was doing a great job on the stuff he was doing. He was vocal, and I felt it had a future. And you know, you don't want to be part of an organization where you feel the affiliate clubs hate you. And that's not a good position to be in, is it?
That's
true.
The
clubs around the world have had this problem, or bodies around the world have had this problem, because look at the AMA. A great deal of their members are retired people who go out on a Sunday with their Telemaster Super whatevers with their glow plug motors and fly around in circles after spending a lot of time talking. And that's the traditional hobby has been aging out, and the new hobby coming in are people flying RTFs, foamies, mini quads, that sort of thing, and they don't fit into the old school, because a lot of these old guys, they don't want these damn mini quads making a noise around them while they're trying to, you know, crash land their old kits and things. So this is made for quite a split in the whole community, and so that's why we don't see a lot of the younger people joining these clubs, because they're not made to feel welcome in the way they should be. Probably the only place I think that's not quite true is here in New Zealand, because we had a very progressive president of Model Flying New Zealand, the national body, and he actually worked very hard to bring the new generation into the body by holding mini quad events and making mini quads a bona fide, a genuinely important part of the hobby in New Zealand. It doesn't seem to have happened nearly so much overseas, and I think so we're in a good position from that perspective, but many other organizations, many other countries are probably not. And the problem we've got though with these national bodies is they can't be seen to be making too much noise, because they've got to maintain a working relationship with the regulator. If they lose that relationship, then they're as powerless as anybody. So that's why I can do what I want, because I've got nothing to lose. But, you know, the BMFAs of the world, the FAAs of the world, they can't be too militant, or they just get sidelined totally. And although sometimes I think that would probably be an action of last resort, it might be worth doing that, because then the media gets involved, because in that letter that Dean Winter sent me, I love the hypocrisy. We're always keen to engage with all aspects of the aviation industry, but we're not coming. It's looking for any excuse not to engage. So yeah, the whole thing's just a giant mess. Why do we have these people regulating toys? It's just not the job of a regulator, a government, to regulate children's toys, which is what sub 250, for example, could easily be categorized as children's toys. In New Zealand, we don't have that subcategory. Everything is regulated down to 1 gram. And so, and the other thing that annoys me is I've had people commenting on my video saying, you should do what the minister said and use the system to promulgate change. And they've ignored the fact that, yes, Model Flying New Zealand tried to do that, and CAA simply removed their submission. Disappeared overnight, gone. They didn't like it. Disappeared without trace. So the system is broken. You cannot, the minister doesn't know that, or chooses not to acknowledge that. So you can't work within a system if the system is geared against you. You've got to work outside the system. And maybe one day I will work outside the system. I don't know.
It's going to be interesting to see with the remote ID lad. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Well, in the comments, people are saying, sorry, After you, Ian.
No, I was just going to say how it. You got DJI pushing. What in many ways is a right way forward, in the sense of, okay, if we're going to legislate something needs to be a requirement, it is not fair on an industry to overnight say you can't use your aircraft. Do you know what I mean? And what DJI are pushing is their flavor of it, but it's their flavor of it which could be retrofitted with a firmware update very quickly. Do you know what I mean? Which I think, we can't ignore the fact that the largest player in this industry is DJI from a commercial point of view and from a off-the-shelf product point of view. So they're going to push the solution which costs them the least, but is probably the simplest way forward. And it was still an open ID standard. It was nothing particularly nasty with the DJI option. It was really based off the Intel one more than anything. It was very similar. But you then had the NPRM, which was, had to restrict flight. It wouldn't be allowed to take off if the hardware didn't work. It wasn't able to communicate with the servers. You weren't allowed to fly. And it was just insane. Now, I think they really hit a technical wall with that, because there were comments, some hints that what they wanted, they're nowhere near ready for. To implement what they wanted.
They were ready. There's one vendor that was ready. They've been building it. They bought the company in China, and they were ready. They were ready to go. That was exactly what a company had to build. Sorry?
Did they go on fire by any chance, that company?
Sorry?
Was it the company that went on fire by any chance? There's no legitimately one company went on fire.
Yeah, I know they did. And perhaps that's the company of which I speak.
Yeah, and perhaps some of that equipment was in there before it all broke down.
Year. I mean,
well, if you've got hot products, it's always a risk.
That's standard. Yeah, well, that was based on that one company. But the thing is, we're this, and us and our dear viewers that are here know what we're talking about. They know what we're talking about when we talk about remote ID. But sadly, we're a very, very, very small subset of people in this industry that know it's coming. And
you've got to realise that there are a lot of very large players looking to make a lot of money out of the drone industry, and telcos are in line to do that. And hence, remote ID with network connectivity, is going to be they see it as a major revenue earner. It's a major, people are going to have to subscribe to their communication service to get in the air. They're all looking what's in it for me, and so they're promoting these ridiculous ideas. And of course, nobody wants the DJI solution because it's not network connected. It's just Wi-Fi from the drone. So how do the telcos make money out of that? It's a license-free band. So they're all saying, no, we can't have that. That's why DJI has been sidelined. And DJI is currently the biggest player, but the way the US government's going, they may not even exist in 6 months' time. They'll probably ban all recreational DJI drones, because they could, if they use the DJI remote ID, that'll be going back to China, and they'll be children will be using it in scrapbooks. It's like the world has just gone utterly mad.
I might drop out in a minute.
So, I mean, in the UK,
huge thunderstorm occurring here, so I may disappear in a minute.
So
we live in hope.
In the UK, the remote ID, at the minute, thankfully, we have no requirement to connect to the internet or any kind of other system. It is basically the drone's flying. It's got its own little web Wi-Fi. You can just get your iPad out, and you can go, right, I can see the drone. Is it listed as a Wi-Fi point? Click on it. It brings up a web page, and it tells you who the operator is, basically. That's how it's looking like it's all going with the UK. The only niggle, the only thing that really, really annoys me is, of course, where the operator is stood, because it's going to tell you that.
But
all it should send back is your number, your registration. Like in a car and a motorcycle, you've just got a number, no personal information, nothing other than that. Just needs to have a registration number, and then the relevant authorities can look that data up and get what they need. But the public shouldn't be having access to all that.
We have to remember that there's already been a sleight of hand on the EU regulation, and it isn't over yet, because the original EU proposal was that it was simply broadcast ID. And then the small update at the middle of this year slid in network ID as an option as well. Now, it's only going to take another small update to slide out broadcast ID, and then suddenly we're in that position. So this is the problem. We've got to be a bit careful, because whilst we had this lovely big document that told us what we know, I made videos on it. Europe's much better than America. If you're a European, you'll still be able to use your aircraft. Yet then there's been the updates 1, 2, 945, 2019 945 and 2019 947. They've both been tweaked, and it's the main document's the same, but it's the amendment, and there's amendment 2 and amendment 3, and where it will end up, I don't know. I don't fully trust them. That's the problem.
I'm inclined to actually agree with you. I really am. And the daft thing will be, you'll have to have remote ID, but if you're also running electronic conspicuousy at the same time, why do you need both on the aircraft? Can we just get rid of one? If I'm willing to fly with electronic conspicuousy all the time, can I ditch remote ID? That's going to be...
Hang on a minute. There's that. Got to find a story. There's that EU data standard, which is aiming to do just that, isn't it? Pull it all together. But also, I just slide it around a little bit. We're talking about privacy data and that. It's all right. DJI gear is completely fine. DJI said so. Nothing to worry about. Carry on.
I think the problem is, does it matter what they say? And I don't mean that in that they're bad, but the US will make up its mind whatever happens. I still don't understand why this is an issue. I don't run around buying a device complaining that it's on Wi-Fi and worrying about my data. I take my own data security as a part of what I do. So as if I walk into a hotel with a laptop, I follow my own data security. I think this, you just have to look at this assumption. Do we honestly think they are watching everything, every drone flying? And if they are, then just take provisions for it. You can turn off Wi-Fi. You can erase the device. If your data is that secure, you should already have policies in place. Now, there is 1 or 2 things I don't like. I don't like the fact you cannot erase the aircraft before sending it in for repair. Okay, so that is a fundamental issue right now that still needs to be addressed. That if you had an aircraft under warranty, the SD card on the aircraft holds a lot of data. It does. There's no question about that. You do not have the ability to wipe that. Now, you should have that option. They took that option away.
You mean the SD card
within the body?
But you mean the SD card that most people don't know it's actually there?
Yes.
Glued to the main board.
It's glued to the inside. Now, I understand their reasons for removing the ability to erase it. It was very much warranty based, in the sense of people were claiming warranty issues and then erasing claiming that it crashed itself, it fell out the sky, and erasing the flight log. Now, from a serviceability point of view, you're going to go, okay, we need to do something about this. We need to ensure. Now, you could just put a policy in place of, unless you provide a flight log, we're not going to honor warranty. But that still gets messy in courts of law around the world. It's not very simple to do. So I do understand why they did it, but there does need to be an option to delete that data and then say, the repair I'm having is not related to a flight related issue, or provide that log and then erase the data afterwards when you provide the aircraft. But with regards to, people, I've seen some amazing stuff. People saying video goes back to China. I think you'd notice if your device was uploading 4K 60 frames a second, hold on a minute, you can't turn it off for the next 2 hours because it needs to upload this 4K footage to China, or these high resolution images. Are DJI taking certain data? I would bundle them in the same situation as what I expect Facebook to do, what I expect social media platforms or any other app I install on my device. That's where I'm.
Yeah, what's the difference with like Microsoft? I mean, how much stuff does Windows send back on a regular basis? You can't stop it. You don't know what it's sending back. But we don't grizzle because apparently USA is our friend, even though we have reasons to doubt that at times.
I agree. And you can't even stop Windows updating. I can't stop Windows 10 updating itself. It's impossible. It turns itself back on. So I think there are concerns. I think if you're a government agency, you're going to have a legitimate concern. I still found it a bit strange that saying government agencies are screwed. Then don't use the product. Use whatever else is out there. The problem they had was there wasn't anything else out there. There's a lot of question marks today. Is there still anything else out there? There's a nice blue list of UAS, but can you actually buy them? I thought you were going to jump in there, Gary.
Look at Parrot again. I think I said.
Yeah.
I'm probably quite delayed. The look at Parrot again. I think it's 4 stories, or was it 3 this week, 2 this week, last week, 2 this week, about them teaming with other companies to do different bits of this and different bits of that. Parrot are building an ecosystem behind the product, and that makes it more real to me, if you will. Maybe it's all extra BS, but they seem to be the only players in that Blue SUAS team, and we've been told 3 to 5 years until the next group is chosen. So there's a crazy advantage for those first 5 at the minute.
Yeah, there is. And, I think, just to finish off what I was saying on the data, do I think DJI is squeaky clean? No. Do I think anyone is squeaky clean? No. Do I honestly think they're sitting there stealing and harvesting my data? No. And if I do anything where I have a concern, I will secure it myself, just like any business should. And, even an idiot in a shed like this can do it. So if I can do it, anyone can. But that doesn't make good news, and it doesn't make good propaganda.
So I'll be all right with my Mavic 2 Pro, whatever the new thing.
The Mavic Mini 2.
The Mavic 2 Pro, or whatever it was supposed to be, the new
Mavic Mini
2, whatever.
2. Yes. Yeah, that's coming. You can find it on shelves in the USA right now. You just can't find it on the manufacturer's website. They must be. Someone is not.
Yes, well, I'll let you. No,
What'd you say,
but I mean, what do we see of it? I'm afraid. To me, it's there, but maybe you can tell me how good it is.
4K, and it's got OcuSync. I think the key to this is OcuSync. The fact I know part of the reason the Mavic Air, they couldn't get OcuSync into the Mavic Air because of the heat. It was struggling to deal with it, get that heat away. They've clearly improved the system. The big news isn't the aircraft. The camera on the existing one is capable of 4K. It's just the rest of the system wasn't. It's a facelift, was what you would call it from the car industry, but they've crammed in OcuSync 2, and that's the big news here, because that means what's going to bring forward into the FPV side of it. Are they going to be able to bring smaller, lighter air units? Are we going to see a new FPV system? I don't know what the price is. I think the talk is $500. It's clearly coming because 2 or 3 people have bought one. They can't use them, though, because they can't activate them. November the 5th is the whispers. That's on the street. I don't know anything official, so I can't break any NDAs. Probably $500. Again, what we said, 3-4 weeks ago? Without any prior information, refresh of an existing product in the budget category to fill stockings just before Christmas.
And it's 31-minute flight time, up to.
Yeah, different battery though. Just as DJI love to. Just as they like to make sure those accessories off your last version will not work with the new one, you've got to buy a different battery.
That's right. Your Matrice 300 battery will not work with the Mavic Mini.
No. But no, it does.
No. Yeah, more. Do you know? Scott, I'll let you and Louis go because my internet is terrible.
I was just going to say it's an interesting aircraft. I think it's the right aircraft at the right time for the right budget. Everyone keeps saying, "Where's the Mavic Pro 3 to compete with Skydio?" Who's buying aircraft at $1,000 plus? The Mavic 2 Pro is a $1,600 aircraft right now. Who is buying that in this current market? You don't need to compete with Skydio. You can't buy the damn thing. So don't worry about it. It's not a problem.
Louis frozen again.
No, I'm just asking Ian if the Mavic 2 Pro is not overpriced.
I think it's interesting right now. I'd agree it isn't. I think it's still very much in its own category. I think you could, if you're going to argue that's overpriced, then you're going to argue everything's overpriced. Remember, the Skydio is $1,000 without a remote controller, so you've got to put the remote on top, which is another $150. So that's $1,150. If you want a couple of the other bells and whistles, the price stacks up comparably quite quickly. Is it overpriced? 1-inch sensor, good camera. It's interesting. We haven't seen a price drop. That in itself is very interesting. You know, those of us who followed the life cycles for a long time would have expected it to have probably dropped by about a third by now, and offers. It hasn't. I think they're just milking it for those who are selling it. There's still nothing as good as it. Even the Skydio is good, but you can't get it. The Autel is okay, but it has a lot of issues.
You can get the Skydio. I was with the order form right now.
Yeah.
To get one.
And when will you get it?
December. No, it's on the order list.
2021.
There are people today on forums who are getting their orders now from February.
Yeah, but they have now the Skydio has a page where they say when is expected to get, and the crucial word is expected.
Yeah. COVID can have all sorts of effects. Sorry, Mark.
I think there needs to be a bet on this, doesn't there? So, will it arrive or won't it in December? There needs to be a bet. So
yeah. Order one, Louis. Go on.
Yeah, go on.
No, because I had a plan to go to US in December, but with all this COVID thing, I'm not going. So doesn't make much sense.
It is an interesting question. Sorry, I was just going to say on the pricing.
Go ahead.
Gary is temporarily distended from the rest of us.
Yeah, Gary's out.
He's a week behind.
He's on a slightly different limb.
He's still in 1865 by the look of it, with that hair.
Go on,
What? It's 20-7. I was just going to say the bet is will Louis get a Skydio before he manages to fly in Brazil?
Yes, or earn any money. It's
Brilliant.
I think it is an interesting point on price. You know, if you look at that article that was out a month or two ago that priced the Mavic Air 2 as a component, and they do this on iPhones as well. And it's interesting, actually, the drone industry is getting that level of attention now. These companies never used to do that, but they're now, you know, DJI was seen as a product that was worth them making an article around and saying what the build cost was. And I think it was like $100 and odd or something. But that stuff isn't really a true reflection of where things are at. I think, can we argue the Mavic 2 Pro is overpriced? Possibly. I think what a clever move is releasing an aircraft for $500 before Christmas. That is below the registration in a number of countries. In the countries you do have to register it in. You're still allowed to do stuff you can't do with any other aircraft. You can fly in places. It's not obtrusive. It's not going to annoy people like an Inspire or a Mavic. And I think Bruce was the man that said it last year, which is everything's going to get sub 250. And
I wonder actually whether we're going to see a change in the regulations, certainly in the USA, because this could be a very popular craft. Now it's 4K, OcuSync. It's a very capable craft, 30-minute flight time. People will be buying these in preference to a Mavic, also because of the price differential. And so are these people going to say, we're not clipping this ticket. We're missing out on the money from these things with the remote ID and that stuff. We need to bring them into the net, and they'll drop it down to 150 grams or 100 grams. Keep dropping it down so they've always got room for the kiddies' toys at the bottom, but they're still milking as much of it as they can. And that proves, again, it's not about safety or security, it's about money.
Remember, this thing can do 10 kilometers. We are going to be talking an aircraft that weighs under 250 grams, has 31 minutes flight time, 4K camera, and can fly for up to 10 kilometers, because that's what OcuSync
But the projectile from the Barrett BMG 50 caliber gun will travel that far. It's much lighter. It'll travel 10 kilometers.
And in 3 months we'll be discussing. No, in 3 months we'll be discussing the number of Mavic Mini 2s that were lost.
Yeah, but it is going to pose a regulation nightmare. What hell? All of the cheap aircraft have had Wi-Fi, which has been useless. Even the enhanced Wi-Fi on the Mavic E was 400-500 meters in CE. It wasn't great. I could get a distance from me that I could easily see the aircraft, and I'd start to see blocking. When you're talking, we know OcuSync 2 can do 10 kilometers. It's proven time and time again. It's going to make very interesting thing. But then again, the more that are lost, the better it is for DJI. They're selling more aircraft. So it's
okay. OcuSync 2 at what level of power? I really cannot believe they'll put out the same power that you are used to with OcuSync. Perhaps the same protocol, but a very, very lower level of power.
It'll be adaptive.
Well, it's adaptive as it is, and they're stating that box stated the same spec as all of the other systems. There was no reduction. There was no, it was clearly up to 10 kilometers. In CE, obviously, it's about 16 dBm. In US, they tend to do about 28. They're below that 30, which is the key, 30 dB. So it's overall, it's going to be interesting. It's smart though. It's probably you got to look at Autel released a $2,000 drone in the middle of the year, and you have to sit here and think, really, was that where the market was heading?
Yeah. Well, the writing's been on the wall since when did you make that 250-gram aeroplane, Bruce? That's what, 3 years ago now, whatever it was. You started it.
Yeah, I can't get that writing off the wall. Actually, I need some kind of paint over it.
Well, it's a win-win as well. If you take into account I was going to say it's a win-win for DJI as well, because even if people do stupid things with them, they're small enough that it's not going to cause a big public outcry as well. So, when someone landed a Phantom on the lawn, that gets noticed. When someone does something stupid with an Inspire, that gets noticed. When it's something as small as a Mavic Mini, the chances of something bad happening is so much smaller.
Yeah, it's interesting because Canada's had that sub 250 no prescriptive rules things for quite some time now, and there was talk that they were going to renege on it and bring them into the prescriptive rule thing, but they've backed away from that again now. So there's no sign of any prescriptive rules being rolled out for sub 250 in Canada, and I just wish the rest of the world would listen and watch and learn from their experiences.
And the reality is, if we look at all of these cameras, the Mavic 2 Pro Zip, this great camera. Does anyone really use it? How many people are actually recording in this H.265 100 megabits a second, 120 megabits a second, all this quality footage? Most people are actually following themselves around a field or flying over by a beach to show their friends on Facebook. It's only the YouTubers, the professionals like me and Bruce, who spend hours behind an editing desk grading our footage to ensure that we've got everything correctly. The reality is most people, the novelty wears off of a camera drone fairly quickly.
And the worst thing is, of course, people do record in H.265 or 264 4K. What's the number one thing that everyone that buys a drone has forgotten about?
What they had for breakfast?
No, their computer can't handle it.
Oh, yes, because you've got an Amiga 4000. The rest of us have moved on.
Yeah, my RTX 3090 can handle it fine, Mark. I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, the new 3070. We've got to be on message, Bruce. 3070's out today.
Sorry, Mark. I can shoot at let me check, at 5.7K.
Yeah,
I shoot at 5.7K.
Got away from my drone.
H.265.
You can go anywhere without
And
that. It's always got a limit. You can go anywhere without that.
You know what? It
It's
gives
like
off
it's
enough
a pussy
EMI.
banker.
He takes it with him. It's an EMI trap. It gives off enough EMI to take out satellites. That thing does.
No. And I can edit perfectly on my cell phone. So why do you need a computer? I just use the cell phone to edit the H.265 5.7K video, 30 frames per second.
It's all ending anyway. We're going to replace it all with a new iPhone. I do
find it amazing that our phones can edit video better than our laptops can. I do find that quite bizarre at times. You know, people are going, because I hate editing. I can't use my phone for that editing. It's useless in my eyes. You know, it's got to be on a desktop for me, just so I can see what's going on, because I've got bad eyes.
Bruce edits on a Motorola Flip.
No,
phone
no,
from
no. It's
1921.
no. It's the new. I think it's the new Motorola Flip that has the bendable screen. It's just trying to fool us.
I had one of the very first. What was it called? It was the Motorola Razr. Was it the Razr with the battery on the back,
Razr.
which looked like a? I thought I was the business when I had one of them. Used to
I had a
walk around like
beige
Kirk.
brick. I started with a beige brick in the 1980s, mate.
So, but now there's a new aircraft coming. $500. Get your cash out. I might order one to have a look. Actually, this is the one thing I might think. You know what? This could be a little bit interesting. This one. Not that they're shipping anything to the UK.
Yeah, no, I think it does.
Where's the Lego drone, though? I want the Lego drone. The DJI Lego drone, the one that was pictured and pixelated.
Yeah. We don't know. No one knows what they're up to. No one, honestly, they are tight-lipped. Is it going to come? Is there going to be anything? There's been some rumors this week in UFPV goggles, and it's total nonsense. It's a set of goggles from China, you know, like these HDR ones for watching films, or what, you know, like Oculus, and it's not DJI. It's, you got to just search for the name, it comes up. So
Oculus Rift.
Yeah, no, it's not by them. It's a Chinese company. But I think the other interesting thing is what's next. If we ignore DJI, what are the others going to do? You know, are Unique ever going to make another? Are Unique even still in business?
They've changed their name to Fairly Rare.
The thing is, even DJI, given all the resources they say they have, or we imagine they have, aren't they doing too little releases? Because, come on, it's a brush of paint on the two. Yep. The gimbals are
It's 3 years old tech. It's 3-year-old tech. Let's be honest, Louis. It's 3-year-old tech. Yeah.
And the handheld gimbals are just the new gimbals for the M300 are and might upset some of the partners that have paid the license to enter their game.
Yeah.
And
I think
so many people for so little thing. Either they're coming up strong with a complete new lineup after the new regulations, and we'll see a flurry of new products complying with. I think they're really suffering the pain of the US ban.
I think it'd be interesting to know, because you say all that R&D has to be going somewhere. You know, there hasn't been a new Inspire. There hasn't been a new Phantom. The Phantom was relaunched. It was the same aircraft. That's 3 years old tech. They've certainly been, what's the word you would use? Capitalizing on your investment is haven't they, up till now? Don't get me wrong, I think the M300
usually milking the cow, right?
Yeah, milking it, but they clearly see that expensive drones is not the way forward right now. They've just released the new gimbals. I'm still waiting on mine to be shipped. It doesn't look like anything's shipped out of the UK to the UK at all.
Which gimbals? The handhelds or the
RS,
ones from
the RS and the RS2, the RS2 and the RSC2. I've paid for them, but they haven't shipped, and I've ordered them over 2 weeks. But yeah, it is interesting. Or will they come out and dominate with an entire new lineup next year? But it's not going to be, you're not going to spend money before June, July. The world isn't going to improve overnight, is it?
And does anyone really need a new drone? these days.
Yeah.
I mean, what are they going to offer that's going to be the killer feature you just have to throw away your old Mavic or your old Phantom or whatever you've got and buy this new one? Because if we've seen with the facelifts, it's incremental, and you have to have a lot of increments before people say, yeah, it's time to get a new drone. And there's not a lot of money out there. The market's very mature. I wonder, we've always said we've reached peak drone. I wonder, we don't have much direction from here. There's no way. Skydio's got this autonomy thing, but yeah, that's okay. But part of the fun used to be flying drones, not just watching them fly themselves. And so we seem to be coming to a bit of a brick wall. I think we need some major breakthrough that's going to provide some new excitement and some new functionality that we all want. We don't need it, but we want it.
Well, is it the future drones? And that's where it does get interesting. Sorry, go.
Is it the future drones? Sorry, what do you mean by that, Ian?
Is the future drones for these companies? Is future drones for these companies or
no?
It's
not for DJI. I think in 5 years' time, we'll be having the chat and saying, do you remember when the last one DJI bought out? Oh, and that was the beginning of the end of them. I don't think they'll be in the drone business in 5 years' time. That's my take on it, because the American thing will kick in, and despite what people say or think, this process started before 2016. This isn't something. This particular process didn't start whilst the current president was in charge. I know everyone thinks DJI are waiting for what next week. Well, no, next week. What roughly? The election results. It'll make no difference. But I'm wondering now if the blue SUAS trend hasn't actually killed the American drone industry as well, because unless they get a way of onboarding people in, there's no, putting made in America is absolutely meaningless. Doesn't make a jot of difference if it's not on that list. You can't use it over federal land. And big companies are beginning to take note now, and big companies that require inspections are asking questions of, and that blue SUAS page on SUAS News is doing quite well, and that just shows you the interest there is in that term, that very term.
It's interesting.
So, I wonder if it has, because if it's 3 to 5 years.
It's all about getting the maximum money in the fewest number of hands these days, isn't it? We've got consolidation everywhere. We want to rule out. We want to keep reduce the number of active drone companies so that they can make a lot more money. And it seems to be the way things are going. We've got all these few companies like Amazon and Google wanting to consolidate all their wealth, blocking out the little players, and the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. And I guess there's a note on the wall beside Brendan Schulman which tells them how to turn the lights out when he leaves the office.
It is interesting.
Bruce, don't be so negative. You always have Betaflight, Autopilot to play around with on your drones.
Yeah, but that's for recreational stuff. I'm talking about commercial people making money out of the stuff. No one makes money out of Betaflight or Autopilot.
Autopilot has a very big, sometimes Autopilot doesn't benefit from it, but Autopilot does have people using it in some quite impressive situations commercially as well, doesn't it, Louis?
Yes. Yeah, but in the USA, if they're building their own stuff, they won't be able to use it with no remote ID.
I'm not always saying Autopilot benefits from that, but the interesting thing is with this Blue UAS, why have they done what they were planning to do with the NPRM and lock the door after first entry? And this is where Gary was hinting at. Five people have been allowed into the party. The door was locked behind them, and the key was then put through a grinder right now. And it seems that they've created the US drone industry for 5 companies. And of those 5 companies, probably 2 of them could sell you a drone today. Maybe. We know one could. Yeah, Gary's, So we've ended up with a situation where other manufacturers, take FreeFly. FreeFly are a US manufacturer who are knocking out some very interesting aircraft now. The new Astro, they've got gimbals, they've got cameras. They're not on the list. They can't come in. They're an American drone manufacturer, yet they can't get involved. So why has the US government done this? Why have they locked this door upon entry of the first batch? Is it money changing hands? Who knows?
No, I tell you what it was. The form. Well, I don't know, of course, and we'll come back to your question in a second there, Martin. Well, I'll put that back up there. But the actual requirement and size of craft, etc., wasn't all that sexy that the US Army put up for most people. So very few companies went to have a little look at that contract. So it worked very well for those that did. And if you put yourself in the mindset of, I'm not going to be selling M300s for the next 5 years, I'm going to sell these small things and only these small things, but it'll give me the golden ticket, you're ready for away. So that's what I think they did. They cleverly, only 5 companies cleverly saw. Every company that went for that bid got a golden ticket. They were the only 5 companies that went for that. So I think they had people that were paying close attention. And Martin, the Skydio, you can't pull the 3D data out of the thing. No. As good as it is, as cool as it is, you can't get to it. And that's a problem. So you'll still be reconstructing it in the same way as everybody else.
And it's not got a good camera for that. And that's the problem. You know, look, Skydio will sell you, they've got some amazing advertising showing it with all of this site scan stuff. The best camera today for mapping and 3D imaging, say, of an obelisk or something, you know what I mean, the 3D, is still the Phantom 4 Pro because of the camera, which is a global mechanical shutter. Now, the new option, and wait for Louis to jump in, the M300 new camera is going to do the same thing. You were there, weren't you? You were jumping in. The L1 or the M1.
Yeah. Yeah, but there are some third-party alternatives that you can plug in.
Yes.
And can do quite a good job. I'm not sure about the Skydio.
No. At the end of the day, it's still a 12 megapixel small sensor without a mechanical shutter. And as good as their software is, I think there's a lot of, not smoke and mirrors, it's not the right term. I don't mean to, I love the company. I think they're doing amazing work, but some of it smells of snake oil right now, unfortunately, and it's hard not to call it out at times. So.
No, they're taking to the extreme what you see today on cell phones. Yeah. We are old timers that remember global shutter, rolling shutter, all that stuff. And today, with computer photography, a 12 megapixel, a good 12 megapixel sensor equipped with a good image processor, like ones from Umbrella or the ones that Apple does not sell to outsiders, can do quite a lot on the computational photography. I believe that Skydio and I'm not sure, but also Parrot are on that bandwagon of computational photography.
I just don't even know if you can buy it. This is the problem. You know, again, they sell, you can buy the aircraft, but if you want that pro package, it all gets, you need to talk to us and we'll talk to you. And I'm still not seeing many standard commercial operators using this gear. Approach them, see what they say. It would be probably my comment.
Stuart thinks that 249 is a Kickstarter new drone users. Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah,
yeah, but I also think the way DJI's going with its cameras, its robots, all the other stuff it doesn't. Well, they are a camera company, as we've said a million times. They're not really they're a camera company primarily now. And I think I wouldn't mind, but it'll just get too much hassle. So they'll just move out of the way. I do think that's coming. We'll see. When remote ID comes, that's gonna be a whole new kettle of ball games. To add into the mix. What else? We see that Skydio's teamed up with Ware, or they've invested in Ware to do warehouse inspections. I thought that was quite clever on Skydio's front, indoors, outside of regulation, and the
indoors is very cool.
Yeah, ideal fit for that platform. Good enough resolution, and it doesn't hit things. So yeah, it's a perfect use case for that sort of thing. Perfect.
I'm sorry, it doesn't hit things.
Apparently,
Yeah.
apparently,
We've seen a few videos. I think the frustration for me is, I think the frustration is I still haven't been able to try it, and it's hard to say how good, and this is the problem. It's very hard to sit here and say how good the system is when in Europe it's still not available. I don't even know if we'll see it at all. I often now wonder whether this aircraft will ever be available in Europe. Is the market even worth them doing it for?
Probably not when they've got the entire American market because of their blue one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now pull up a sandbag because this wind's just, you know what that means. It's going to be a dull story for me. But you know that thing in a cage? I can't remember what it's called for doing internal inspections.
Oh, the Ilios.
Hey, that's it. So what happened was down the road from here, some chaps are doing. They haven't got very long flight time, and they were doing a big chimney down near the seaside, and it went up and it went up out the chimney and went out, and it took them 15 minutes to get out the building to get to the outside world again. Gone. In a big wind like this. It was nice and calm inside the chimney.
Yeah, it's got no GPS, nothing, have they?
No.
I know a few people with them, and the kicker is with the Ilios, when you go in to do a job, be it a sewer or anything else, they're telling me the only way you can do it is bit by bit. You have to go like so far, right? I've got to come
That's
back.
exactly what they did.
Where I've got, but as soon as it goes outside, it's got no GPS. If you cannot fly ATI mode, you're just.
It's a racing quad in a cage, isn't it? Let's be honest, that's what it is. Yeah.
It's a Phantom, actually. I think it's DJI software powered as such.
Yeah, they've got OcuSync on it. Not OcuSync, Lightbridge too.
Yeah, something like that.
Imagine that meeting with the boss. Well, what happened was
I took it out the chimney and
went up, and it took them 15 or 20 minutes to get out the building. Anyway, just the wind reminded me of that. Now, what else have we seen? We've seen remote ID shenanigans are happening in the background. We've seen the new DJI. I better look at some well-known local drone website to remind myself. Oh, drone delivery cameras.
Well, there was the ARC meeting the US had last week. And again, look at how small the representation of the hobby was within that massive group of attendees and compared to the amount of flying done by either group. And the imbalance is total and undeniable.
I couldn't bring myself to watch that. I know Patrick got very excited about it. I know you were tweeting and watching it, but I just knew I'd get angry. So I couldn't be bothered. It was not worth my anger time. Another one of these great remote meetings in the COVID age where you don't have to attend. Really,
although they did give Rich Hansen a shot of adrenaline, I think, because he actually said something which is quite interesting, quite amazing.
Did he?
Interesting. It was different. Yeah, he wasn't snoozing this week.
Sorry, were you going to say something, Mark?
I was going to say, hopefully we're going to get our CAP 722 come out. I've heard end of November, beginning of December on the grapevine. So, our guidance, the UK's CA CAP 722, the new one is coming. It's only a little bit behind when I heard it was going to come out earlier in the year. Originally April is when I first heard about it was going to come, but it's a little bit behind.
And how do you think that's going to cope on January 31st? Not January 31st, December 31st.
I think the reason it's probably delayed is probably Brexit. I could be wrong, but because Brexit's still in the air and they're sorting out things, I think there's probably two versions. There's one that says we're in YARSA and one that says we're not. So I think they're just waiting. There's going to be final bits, obviously, they're still doing on them, but I think there's probably two versions in my mind. They're just waiting to see how it lies. But that will give us the final guidance on everything that's coming. it'll lay it all out. Where Cap 1789 said this is the regulation that's coming, Cap 722 will be the clear definition of it.
Stuart Rowley asking about ADS-B in. It probably will have ADS-B in, won't it? They built all the silicon in the world for that, haven't they?
That's an interesting point. Let me just remind myself. Right, the Mavic. Well, they committed to every aircraft they make.
Never
this
knew one,
year
wasn't
to
they?
have
Ian,
it.
Yeah.
Didn't
Ian, shut up and do the unboxing.
No, I wish. No, I'm in no favour with anyone now. Funny enough, I think I've upset everyone in the drone industry of anyone who matters right now. I think.
Please offend me. Please offend
Or
me.
manufacturer. I think manufacturer I've upset. I'm no longer on any special lists. I don't receive any products.
You're on some very special lists.
Yeah, very special lists. Yeah. No.
Very
Friend of me is a special list.
It's
You're associated with me, you're on lists, mate.
even the one thing I was told was coming didn't turn up. that was all right. Okay. I've not asked
Best
why.
Buy and broken GoPros anymore. Send away for repair. Because
Yeah,
that's
they've got
why.
the insurance scheme where you pay an annual fee, and if you break your camera, they just give you no, don't do that anymore. They send it away and hopefully try and repair it, and so you're left without a camera in the meantime. So if you really even smash it up really bad so that there's no chance of it being repaired, they say that's abuse and it's not covered by the warranty.
Is that all cameras?
No, that's the GoPros. The GoPro
So-
Hero.
Because deliberately buys, even for here in South Africa, he deliberately buys from Best Buy for that that very warranty, all his mapping cameras.
Well, that's going to push people towards GoPro, isn't it? Because the GoPro deal is if you take out their replacement, you get their replacement thing as well, don't you?
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about. This affects GoPros sold by Best Buy. They're not going to honour that anymore.
Ah, sorry. So was it the GoPro insurance? Was it? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, the insurance thing. Yeah. So everyone will be buying the DJI should step in now and push the Osmo, the action camera with a similar warranty. What's happened to your camera, mate? Oh no.
Up it comes. Today, Louis is sponsored by, who are they again? Are you the only person who Insta1? You're the only person who bought it. So what's it actually like, Louis?
Yeah, he is the customer.
Everyone else was sent them for free to review.
Yeah, I really bought it.
Oh, Louis got it for review as well.
No. I bought it full price at their website. Now, I think it's a good alternative to GoPro, especially when you get the crazy lens, the 1-inch sensor.
Yeah, because they've got a 4K one, haven't they? They got this thing. It's modular, isn't it? You can plug bits in and throw them away.
It's just you plug it in.
This one. You have this one, which is the 4K module, the 1-inch sensor, and then you have this one. Oops. And then you have this one, which is the regular 4K sensor.
Do you remember when GoPro made a camera just that big? And then they axed it? Yeah.
The GoPro Precision, that was really popular. That was a shame they canned it. But I think too many FPV flyers were using them and breaking them or turning them under the warranty.
Yeah, that was one of the issues.
Just keep it away from TVs and things, Louis. It gives off a lot of EMI in that joint. It'll take aircraft out. You'll take passenger planes down with that thing.
I remember when EMI was just an English music company.
Yeah, there you go. And what do we reckon to this Quaternion? Another thing I can't say, their 10-hour flight record with their machine. And my stick with it.
My Spanish friends.
Yeah. Well, my stick, whether they're your friends, can you tell them don't call it a record until the men from Guinness Book of Records give you the bit of paper? That's my only stick with it.
It's Satyrion, is it?
No, Quaternion.
Oh, Quaternion.
No, there's some nice guys. I've met them in the strangest places that you can imagine. Although they are Spanish. No. Although they live on the country right next to mine, I met the guys in China.
Yeah.
It's,
Oh,
and they are quite savvy, and they are pushing for that hybrid solutions. But hybrids, come on. You probably don't know Chris Olsen, which was one of the Arduino pilots.
yeah.
One of the Autopilot LE maintainers. And hybrids, petrol engines, that's it's day to day. He flies for hours with the helicopters on petrol engines. So yeah, it's just a matter of putting the right engine and the right alternator to the drone under a certain weight and fill it up and fly.
I'm going to put this one up. Did you? I added this one
Special
earlier.
Requirements.
Do you need a special flight controller to cope with the vibrations from the engine?
Not so much. Usually they are quite good. They're quite good on keeping the motors are quite good keeping the vibrations down.
It's a DJI graveyard.
No, that's suicide drones.
Yeah.
Suicide drones. Oh.
It's all DJI. Like we've got an Inspire 1, we've got a Mavic Mini, a Mavic Pro at the back. That's the original one. That's a Mavic Pro Platinum in the back corner.
It's not an Inspire 2, that black one.
No, Inspire 1, you can tell from the legs. If you look, it's got the original pistons. The Inspire
so this is skeet shooting 21st century style.
It is, but I love the name. That name tells you what it is, really, doesn't it? Smash.
Yeah.
Well, no stupid name there that you can't pronounce or not really understand what it is. Smash.
We're going to take DJI's recent product lineup and destroy them all because that's what it looks like they've done.
Yeah, and I don't know what that advert was. I'm getting very weird adverts on YouTube and very weird adverts on any websites as well at the moment. So the algorithms are also going nuts with stuff. Getting loads of on YouTube down here at the minute. We get loads of Arabic adverts. I don't know why. It must be Bruce has said something. But yeah, buy cell phones in Saudi Arabia and things like that. But anyway, so what else do we see? I think it's probably coming to a natural end, I think, now.
We have the
fantastic
4.05. A few critical issues sorted out that would not affect 99% of the user base, but they were there, so they were smashed. Taking the hint from the previous news. No, and business as usual on the Autopilot front. Perhaps the most important thing is the what's that, Bruce?
I found an SD card. I found an SD card.
Oh,
Video coming.
Oh my God!
God.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that update is pretty big, isn't it, Louis? In the sense of it's one that people probably should install, having looked at what they fixed in there, isn't it?
I'm not so sure. Yes, you should always run the latest version of Autopilot.
I'd say if you're on 4, go to it, innit? If you're on 4.0...
No. Oh, yeah. If you're on the 4 bandwagon, and you should, because you should not be running 3 point something, unless you have some specific requirements. And I can tell you that I know a few people that are still on 3.6 because they have some specific. No. Come on.
Race condition. Race condition.
No. They have some very specific reasons to be on that. And
I suppose if they're not using I2C, it's not so bad because the storm.
Yeah.
Thing in it. Yeah.
But if everyone should move to the latest version of Autopilot, please, including you, Ian, with all those fancy Chinese controllers that you're recently getting in favor of using.
No favour. I review what I'm asked to look at, Louis. I don't favour anything. I like hardware that I like, but no, I reviewed the Nora, which it's a nice controller. It's a very nice controller, the Nora. I do like it.
I can tell you that I have a very good impression of the CUAV controllers. And for instance, for helicopters, there are my go-to controllers for helicopters because they cope with vibrations quite well on helicopters, even petrol ones.
Yeah, they cope a lot better than pretty much everyone else, actually, don't they? Whatever they're doing with their foam or the density or the setup, it's coping with bigger bladed aircraft better than pretty much everything else. It's not even just the Cube; it's almost everyone. They are coping.
Yeah. No, even on smaller helicopters,
Nobody likes a shovel.
It's not on fire, so I'm not interested.
Oh my
You
God.
could fix that, Ian.
Yeah, won't take him long. Has he got a USB port?
Hey, do you know why Ian was grumpy when he came on tonight? Because he pulled apart his fit head and saw what he got for his 65 quid.
That wasn't today. Don't worry, that video's been sitting in the bake for like 4 weeks. I just haven't had a chance to do it. But no, I do need to update more, Louis. Yeah.
Yeah, so that when you update, Ian, you'll be speaking with the rest of us that are on the latest bandwagon. Although I'm usually on the self-built ones and mostly running on master, but that's a personal choice because some of, for instance, my helicopters, I just fly them on the release versions. I don't do master on helicopters. I wonder why. If you see some pictures of my helicopters on the front page of ArduPilot, you'll understand why.
I've got 4 videos coming in the next month featuring ArduPilot, so there's a lot to come. Lots to come yet. Lots to come yet.
Did you see the picture of that helicopter drone crashing in China?
Yes.
The video of that drone crashing?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, pretty impressive, eh? Boom! It's like straight to the deck.
But it's the boom I liked. It was the fact of
Bruce.
Bruce. You know, I like
Yes,
anything.
Lewis.
You're from the time that the guys that used to fly helicopters would always have a black bag because the chances of using it were severe.
I still have a black bag.
I was going to say, I think Go on,
I
Mark.
never did black bags with helicopters. I don't, because to be honest, bits tend to stay together but bent.
Come on, Mark. If you don't use a black bag with helicopters, you've never flown one.
This is very true. The most expensive part of the hobby I found was like the first year of flying helicopters, because you crash every time you push the envelope to learn something new. You end up trashing them. And, you know, the bill, it used to make me laugh. You know, it was a couple of £100 a crash, typically, including the blades and everything. That was an old Raptor 60, by the way, that thing. You know, you just got to accept it. Helicopters, but if you can fly a helicopter, you can fly a drone. There's no two ways about it.
Last comment, I'm just laughing.
Well, yeah, I just, you know, I do love helicopters, and I bought that second hand for £100. That Raptor 60. With its
you're lucky.
I've just read it. Is that the comment you were laughing at?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
I just saw it pop up and I read it. It's like, okay.
Welcome to the Saudi embassy. Yes.
City Morgue Parts Department. Yeah.
The only other thing I have seen this week is a huge amount of increase in adoption of the DJI FPV system across multiple groups. In fact, Rotor Riot heavily pushing it, which I find very, very interesting.
They want to clear their old stock.
Heavily pushing it.
And well, considering they now own Fat Shark, or the deal is going through, and I don't know if anyone saw the details for the Fat Shark beta upgrade was out, which is $250 for Bifrost users only.
Yeah, all of that leaves me a bit cold, really. Really does.
Mine is shipped. My Bite Shark or Shark Bite or whatever
Shark
has
Bite.
shipped. But guess what carrier they decided to use to ship it?
DHL, it's got to be.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Have you heard of Ascendia? Formerly known as Swiss Post.
So is this one you get to keep, Bruce? Is it from them or is it one you?
Yeah, it's for review. It's from Fat Shark themselves.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I said please send DHL because it's about a week DHL. Even when the world wasn't in the current situation, Swiss Post was like 3 to 6 months, and as it is now, I doubt I'll see it before Christmas, but hopefully I will be surprised and I'll see it soon. But
So are they sending you the 2 receivers or just the one? Do you know what you'll get?
I don't know what I'm getting until it arrives. But it spent a week moving from one side of the office to the other in the USA for the shipping, so it was going here and there and everywhere. And it was still in the same building for a week, moving with all this tracking information coming through. So, I've got my fingers crossed, but I'm not holding my breath.
So how much are they paying you to do a review on this then, Bruce? Come on, it's Rotor
Well, I
Riot.
don't know. I haven't got it. They just gave me the blank check and said write the number in. So
Write the number on it, and it's
Bruce, that's peanuts. I received a contract coming from Switzerland on DHL overnight. It took a week, so it's overnight now is over a week. So keep cool.
Are they sending you a set of HDO2s as well to use with him, Bruce? Because you need the latest.
I hope they did. I hope they sent me 2.
Yeah, you need at least 2, one for the front and the back of your head.
Exactly. I have no idea what I did say. I didn't have any HDO2s, so I did drop the hint, but we'll find out what happened.
We'll find. Looking forward to that one. See what you actually think.
I still have my original base edition. I'm sure they'll work with that.
Who knows what on earth Chris is talking about? iForce 2D.
I think
don't
he's talking about
understand
my updates. I think he's about 20 minutes behind. I think he's talking about my Windows 10 update. So I think he's either watching this in the past.
He's in the future. He's like Bruce in the future.
I wouldn't be surprised if Windows actually resets the host files every time you boot just to make sure you can't do that, because it's very cunning.
Windows 10's a pain in the ass. But I haven't seen any of them much news in that, actually.
Well, it's been quite a few interesting little manufacturer little stories popping up, and I'll just in case you are a manufacturer watching there, don't send me press releases on Friday. If you want your press releases seen, send them to me on Monday and ask me to put them in on Tuesday or Wednesday. Please don't send anything on Friday and think it's going to do anything, because it won't. Trust me, it won't. And the other, please, is if you have photos of your thing, there was a helicopter this week, which was a conversion of a manned helicopter. But the photo they sent, it could have been a big RC helicopter. Put people in the shot to give it scale and let people think, oh, that could be me. I'm going to buy that because that could be me. So that's just my little.
Could they include a $100 note in the letter just to give you a sense of scale?
Yeah, they could do that. They could do that as well. I hadn't thought of that. But no, we'll always take any submissions to you and SGS News. I don't care. I'm not fussy. But just do yourselves a favour and break the story up into 5 bits if you can, because people don't remember you till they've heard you 5 times. Just why none of us know who Bruce is. And just be a bit more creative with the photos, because I don't know, Bruce knows more about this than me. Sorry, that was a bit of off the cuff advice. What's your advice on that sort of thing, Bruce? Yeah.
Sorry, I was typing in the commentary thing on the other tab on the thing. So I wasn't even paying attention, and the dog ate my homework. Sorry.
Yes, and Michael's saying ADSB out for drones going through US approval now. Yeah, they've already got one. A couple of them that are approved. It's their remote ID solution that's also going through approval now as well, Michael, I think. But I stand under correction. But they've got a couple of their outs are approved. Of course, we don't need them. If manned aviation joined the party and everyone was equipped with in and out in manned, then we wouldn't need any of it. We just fly with our in, and that's that. But there we are. Rant ends. Right. Go on.
We just need want to go down the same road at the same time with electronic conspicuousy. That's the simple version.
That's the air traffic model. Then there will definitely be a crash. So then I definitely need to have a job to stop the crash happening. If we all go down the same road at the same time, that's why it's the only reason airways are there, so that air traffickers have got a job. Right. With that, any more for any more? Did anyone see anything else? Go on, Mike. I thought you were going to go. Louis, I hope you get to fly sometime soon. At very least, fly
So
home.
do I.
Yeah.
Oh,
When's
yeah.
it-
Oh, yeah.
You know, Christmas is coming. You know, you'll.
No, don't worry, because my airline has been canceling me my return flights successfully because they have been canceling flights. So they are bumping people to the next flights. So they're trying to fill planes, so they're
Oh no! Look at that. Oh,
Yeah.
that's terrible.
Yeah.
Hey, but the Max 8 is coming back. They're going to get the Max 8 back in there. So Louis might be lucky enough to fly on one of those next time instead of just an old Airbus, eh?
Great still then. Let's come back and grab that. All right, cool. And Ian, I hope you've had a good birthday week, Ian.
It was
and
fine. Yes, it's another one over. Not dead yet. Still trying. I
big
nearly
one.
tried yesterday.
So are we. So are we. Trust me.
It was very close yesterday. A bit too close for my liking yesterday, but that's a whole other story.
oh
yeah.
dear. And obviously, Mark, the nice believer flying. I guess your weather's be breaking there soon. So
The weather's crap here. I just need a clear day now. I've got the camera working. It's all the aircraft's perfect. I just need to go out and get some flying, and it's just the weather's just crap here.
just not there. And finally, Bruce. Well, maybe we'll see you here next week. Maybe we won't. Who knows?
It could be the prison special.
We
It
look
could be
forward.
By the way, does New Zealand have an Area 51?
Yeah, it's in
It did.
Nevada.
It did. They came on the show, didn't they? That lady from further up
Oh,
north.
yeah,
Had that
yeah.
test, right?
From Open Skies or whatever. Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Years ago. Yeah.
I look forward to seeing more memes from everyone in New Zealand. That's what I look forward to. Rest of the
There
world.
is another good. There is another good meme. If you go on the the International Model Aviation Safety League page, I think he posted it there. So I should run a competition: free Radio Master transmitter to the best CAA meme. What do you reckon?
Please do.
Draw
He's
a
not
few entries
beating
up.
them at all, is he?
Oh, look, I've given the olive branch, but they're making me look stupid. So all the gloves are off now. I don't give a damn. They're going to get hammered because I'm tired of it. I'm just going to might as well use them for sport and entertainment if I can't use them for anything else.
I don't know if you guys can see it, but someone's trying to join the chat at the bottom. I don't know what you can see at the bottom of the screen, but whoever is me again, you have no devices connected. So I don't know who that is. That's a mystery. There we are. Is it you? Oh, it's
It's
you.
Louis.
Oh,
He's hacking.
he's just connecting that camera, isn't he? He's connecting that.
Hey,
bloody
Louis,
camera.
were you in that movie Frozen?
No.
He's Anna.
Yeah, I just passed something for Gary to do stream because it's the people that heard that Bruce is on a new location, so they're very happy.
Well, it wants you to connect your microphone and camera before you can stream. It's not letting me add it to the stream.
No,
So
I
fussy.
put it on the just copy the URL.
Oh, okay. All right. Over here. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, yeah. The paint has dried. Don't worry. The paint has dried. All right. Put this in.
Pass
here.
this on the stream. That sounds a little personal.
Yeah. No, I didn't mention that. I don't think I can stream directly out of here. Let's go here. Oh, this is almost seamless.
So people are so happy for Bruce. You have to put the sound, Gary. No
Oh
sound.
dear. Oh, stop it. I'll stop it like that. Right, that's definitely it now. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much. Gentlemen, look after yourselves, be very safe. I'll see everyone else tomorrow when I do their little news things, which are going quite well. Probably about 3 o'clock local, which is 1 o'clock UK time, I think. But until 2100 GMT next week, take care, everybody. See you then. Look after yourselves. Bye-bye. Oh, one button. I've hid the other one behind the camera. Bye.